Ladies and gents, welcome back. In the last video, I talked about the suspect timing of the Trudeau government giving their announcement for restrictions on firearms. The reason why it was suspect is because it's known in the news world that if you release something on a Friday, you don't want people talking about it. But if you release something on a Monday, it means that you want them talking about that instead of something else, i.e. probably the fact that they all voted in the Singh-Trudeau coalition government, unanimously voted to keep travel restrictions going in Canada when we live on a planet where everyone else is over COVID-19 and moving on and releasing their populations from the restrictions. But then there was this other story that dropped from the Counter Signal exclusive. We spoke with the Trudeau government and we confirmed that they're hiring for the Center for Immunization Surveillance as part of a vaccine rollout task force. What does that look like? Which will gather health data of millions of Canadians across the country. Let's get into this story in particular, and this is released by the Counter Signal. Of course, as always, links are in the description down below. I'll have a link to this article. You can read it, we can share it out and give it to other people to read. I absolutely ask you to do so. Don't take my word for it. Health Canada has confirmed that the Counter Signal that they are hiring for the Center for Immunization Surveillance as part of a vaccine rollout task force. What does that look like? Does that look like a SWAT team? I don't know. Which will gather the health data of millions of Canadians across the country. According to an email sent by Health Canada's media relations team, the Centre for Immunization Surveillance is an ongoing component with Vaccine Rollout Task Force that is looking to hire epidemiology candidates skilled in economics and social science data collection at the end of a pandemic. This is very interesting that that would be the case. Now, I could understand that they would have this kind of process going on back in 2019, 2020, but we're in midway through 2022, and they're hiring for a vaccine rollout task force. What is the deal with this? Counter Signal was notified of internal job postings, many of which come with an over six-figure price tag and are open to Canadian Armed Forces. Late last week, after journalist Andy Lee was contacted by a follower possibly employed by Health Canada. And this is a tweet that Real Andy Lee Show, at the Real Andy Lee Show, put out. Can anyone access this? If this is a real job posting, I want to see. I was sent this. If it's fake, it's pretty good. I lightened it up before posting. So she originally had this post out there, which is a screen grab from a camera saying expression of interest, vaccine rollout task force, Center for Immunization Surveillance. Closing date would be, the 29th this month in 2022. Public Health Agency of Canada, Vaccine Rollout Task Force, Center of Immunization Surveillance, various locations, who can apply, persons employed by Public Health Agency of Canada who substantially occupy, and that's cut off. But, so this is internal. So then she replied to the post saying, here's a video of the posting. How could they fake this? So this is a video grab from the, I'm guessing, cell phone of the person internal to this agency. So this is, these are the postings. It would be pretty difficult to fake that. Now the article goes on to say Health Canada lists 4 levels for which they are hiring. Those at the highest level, EC-07, are expected to manage teams and have experience with the operations of surveillance systems at the national level. They should also have experience developing and maintaining national collaborative networks at the federal or provincial level on surveillance and be able to conduct quantitative epidemiologic, I always struggle with this word, epidemiologic data analysis. Health Canada adds the conditions of employment for the opportunities include secret level security clearance and full vaccination against COVID-19, unless accommodated based on medical, religious, or other prohibited ground. Now, that's an interesting one because you can't even say that if you work for Air Canada, but you're okay if you're part of the vaccine rollout task force, apparently. Those listed as EC4 and EC6 should have experience conducting epidemiologic or biostatistical research, surveys, and analysis. Those informer level should also be adept in methodology and capable of creating statistical quality control procedures and computer programs, while those in the latter group need to be good at working in teams and proposing future projects. Those listed in EC5 are expected to have experience in planning, designing, and conducting recurring and non-recurring epidemiological, again, I struggle with that, biostatistical and statistical analysis and surveys, and recommended the nature and scope of the objective studies, analysis, and surveys. Apologies, but welcome to the Dyslexic News Channel. Here we go. According to Health Canada, the Vaccine Rollout Task Force is a branch within the Public Health Agency of Canada, which is headed by an exclusive level vice president. The VRTF, Vaccine Rollout Task Force, has identified a variety of staffing needs and recently launched several expressions of interest for at-level temporary assigned opportunities seen in this screenshot. Interesting. While Health Canada did not provide details on what kinds of projects members of the Centre for Immunization Surveillance, or oh my God, these acronyms, will undertake, the agency actions throughout the pandemic may indicate what the federal government plans to continue to do. Here's where we go. This is what they're planning to do. So the idea being that while the rest of the world is moving on from the pandemic and realizing that this is an endemic thing that we are dealing with, our agencies are ramping up. Why are we ramping up? What is the point of bringing on new people and creating new agencies? As previously reported by Countersignal, as part of their epidemic response, the Public Health Agency of Canada contracted with the tech company Blue Dot to take Canadians' mobile phone data and prepare supposedly anonymized reports to understand how Canadians were traveling. Okay, so now we have to take care of where Canadians are going and understand all of this information. For what cause? Well, let's see. The scope of these reports is vast and included when Canadians visited family members or friends, went to the grocery store, LCBO, traveled between towns and provinces, and likely everywhere else. It also tracked how long Canadians spent at each location, reports the Canadian press. Questions remain about the specifics of the data provided if Canadians' rights were violated. A lot of people would probably think so. Though if their rights were violated, and what advice the Liberal government was given, said Alberta MP Damien Currick. Indeed, many of the ethics committee say that they were shocked at the breadth of the report given, which were nearly all-encompassing, detailed personal behavioral profiles, though names, phone numbers, and addresses were not attached to those profiles. Now, it wouldn't be difficult to, at any time, to get a warrant or, as they're trying to pass legislation, to have easy communication between these cell phone providers and the government, they could get this information. That's the information. It's not that it's not available. It's just that they don't yet have it. That's the idea. If they wanted to get the identity of any of these individuals, yeah, it can be retrieved through the cell phone providers. That is a fact. The Public Health Agency argued that collecting the data was not about following individuals' trips to specific locations, but rather understanding whether numbers of visits to specific locations have increased or decreased over time. Blue Dot CEO Kamran Khan also said that his company isn't interested in Canadians' individual movement or behaviors, and that all profiles were not attributed to a name or persons. None of the information ever included demographic information or specific identifiers or anything like a name, telephone number, email address, email or address, he said. The data and analysis that we do provide are indicators, statistical summaries of anonymous device information, such as the total number of devices traveling between two cities. And again, like I said, they could get that data. Those numbers are attached to names. That is a thing that you can make happen. It's just not available at the moment. That just doesn't mean that they can't retroactively go back and find that out. As per Health Canada's website, other duties for the Centre of Immunization surveillance would likely include the following: continuously monitoring the safety of marketed vaccines in Canada, identifying increases in the frequency of or severity of previously identified vaccine-related reactions, identifying previous unknown adverse effects following the immunization could possibly be related to a vaccine, unexpected AEFI, identifying areas that require further investigation and or research, providing timely information on AEFI reporting profiles for vaccine marketed in Canada that can help form immunization related decisions. Now that the pandemic is essentially over, with cases dropping precipitously and travel restrictions around the world ending, except for in Canada, of course, at the hands of the Liberal NDP government, it is clear why Health Canada and the federal government, it isn't clear why Health Canada and the federal government feel it necessary to continue collecting Canadians' health data for statistical analysis. In fact, a lot of people would say that this is overreach again by this government. It could be that the government is anticipating a new viral outbreak in the future. Or it could be the government is preparing to launch a new COVID campaign to administer the up to 100 million COVID vaccines that Moderna's new Quebec facility will begin producing as soon as 2024. Either way, it appears that vaccine efficacy, Canada's health and safety obsession isn't going away anytime soon. So that is really interesting. Again, descriptions in the description down below. I'll leave a link to all this, and check it out for yourself. Absolutely. But this sounds egregious, and it sounds sus. It sounds suspect, and especially with the timing of the announcement for why they're rolling out the things that they're doing with the handguns. It seems like something that maybe is used to bury this kind of news. So get this out there, share it out with your friends, let people know about what's happening here in Canada, because this seems rather egregious and stepping and trampling on people's rights, trampling on people's freedom of being left alone. And it's nice to have privacy in the world, but as we move forward in this new Orwellian world, privacy seems less and less all the time. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Get that conversation going. I'm trying not to make these videos run too long, but obviously this one did this morning. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.